Welcome to Rebel Without Applause, where we explore the important sports, entertainment, and culture moments that move the needle from a national perspective and hope to arrive at destinations that add value to the broader conversation. I'm your host, Maurice Bob, and today we have a very special guest. You know him as the original Nasty Lefty, one of the best point guards to ever come out of New York City. He was a four-time Parade All-American and four-time New York City Player of the Year at Queens' famed Archbishop Malloy High School. He was a McDonald's All-American, New York State Mr. Basketball, ACC Rookie of the Year at Georgia Tech, where he led them to their first ever Final Four. He's a 14-year NBA veteran and former All-Star, and now head coach of Fisk University's men's basketball team. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kenny Anderson to the program.
Yo, thanks, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate your time. So first and foremost, how are you and your family doing during these crazy pandemic times?
Pandemic is this. We're going. My family, my son, my daughter, my wife is. We're all fine, but just staying healthy is the big key. Right now they're working. I'm working. Via phone, and just it's going well for far as my family.
Okay, you have to become accustomed to that Zoom meeting format, huh?
Yeah, the Zoom meeting format and computerized technology is a little more. You gotta get with it. You know what I mean? And it's going well though. It's going well.
That's great to hear. Glad to hear that you and your family are blessed.
Yes.
So what we like to start off with as far as questions is, this is program is called Rebel Without Applause. And, that's from the noun perspective, but from the verb perspective is rebel without applause. And, so we always like to ask, what's your most rebellious moment that you can remember in your life?
Rebellious moment. Wow. My life has been good. I really haven't had one. I'm serious. High school. I went to Archbishop Malloy High School in Queens, New York. I love going to school every day. Then I went to Georgia Tech. I love going to school I love going to Georgia Tech, playing and doing all things. And the NBA was a great life. I'm just trying to see. Ooh, man, that's sticky for me. It's really is.
I'll tell you. Well, I'll help you out with mine.
Yeah.
So for me, more often than not, my rebellion comes into play when I choose to ignore the fear of failure and be willing to fail. So one of my most rebellious moments was going against, my mother and grandmother and looking for and meeting my father for the first time as an adult.
Wow. Yeah.
After, growing up hating him and resenting him my whole life. And, I chose to just kind of say, you know what, I'm going to drop everything. I'm going to find him and I'm going to explore what this void was in my life. So for me, that was one of my most rebellious moments. And although it didn't work out the way I wanted it to, I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, I think rebellious moment mine was when I finished playing and I sitting there and I wanted to learn and wanted to what was my capability? What was I going to do after playing? And I sat for 3 years, and I said, boom, I'm going to give back. I want to give back to coaching some of the young men that I coach now to try to raise their awareness on what's going on in the world today. And basketball is easy for me. I can get in the gym, we work out, but just in life in general, just having someone that's been through it, coach them. And I think everybody needs the mentorship. And I think that's where I turned. I went there with it.
So did you have to first come to a point where you had to have a lot of reflection and kind of realize where you went wrong, in your journey in order to be able to teach properly?
Yes, I know where I went wrong at, and I'm getting myself, and I almost, through God, almost passed away. I had a stroke, this year, and I recovered, and I know where I went wrong at, through my ups and downs, through the game of basketball and through life. My mother passed away about 2005, about 10 years ago, and I just felt, it's my duty to give back to these young men, and that's what I want to do. That's why I'm so thankful that Kevin Rome, the president here at Fisk, Willie Jude, the vice president, and Dr. Glover, my AD here, gave me the opportunity to coach these young men, and just not coach in basketball, but just coach in life, and that's the real thing.
Did you see yourself as a coach, back when you first started playing, or envision playing?
No, I didn't see
one
myself.
day as a coach?
I didn't see myself as a coach, and that's where, I'm learning. I've been here 2 years now, going on my third year. I'm learning. It's a learning process for all of us, coaching, but it's also a thing that, that I want it. I want to help these young men. And I keep saying, not just in basketball, but in life in general.
Okay. So, let's back up a little bit, as far as, your days growing up in Queens.
Yeah.
What made you first gravitate towards basketball?
It was a love of mine. That's what I could do. I remember going back to 6 years old, when my sister Danielle, took me to the park, and I was just throwing the ball up at the rim, and the big older guys was running full court, and I just wanted to play back. I wanted to play with the ball. It wasn't so much basketball, and it just grew. It just grew into, me just loving the game of basketball. And, my mentor, Vincent Smith, once I got into high school, he was like telling me, hey, you could get a scholarship. You have to get a scholarship. Your mother don't have the money. And I just focused on doing the right things, not just in basketball, but in life in general. School, just how I partied, how I grew up. It was different. And I could have easily, went left, but I kept the path, and I went straight through it, and that's what I wanted to do.
So what made you pick, the point guard position? Was it just your love of, like you said, dribbling the ball, moving the ball, figuring out how the ball works?
Yeah, it was just love, the point guard position, just dribbling, just having the ball in my hands. I wanted to make everybody, better. But that early in my career when I was playing basketball was just, I would shoot everything. I would shoot the ball, I would take control of the ball because I could get past anybody, and I would shoot the ball. And my mentor, Vincent Smith, said, hey, you got to learn the point guard position. You got to learn how to pass, how to see the defense, what the defense gives you. And I learned it. I learned it through him, man. I had the talent, but Vincent Smith was a big key to my success.
So, you come from, Archbishop Malloy, one of the most, famous high schools in New York City. How did you find yourself going there? And, what was it like to be just kind of all world at this high school and getting all this attention? And this is before, the social media area.
Yeah. I went to Archbishop Malloy High School, but Kenny Smith went there before me. That's my mentor's brother. So I just always wanted to go to Archbishop Malloy. That was a dream of mine. And I just wanted to do what he did, but I wanted to do it better. Kenny Smith played at North Carolina. I wanted to play somewhere in that ACC conference. He played in the pros. I just wanted to do everything like him, but I wanted to do it better. And I went to Archbishop Malloy as a freshman. I got in. It was great. Played for legendary coach Jack Curran. everything went well for me at Malloy, but it was a trying time academically for me, but I got through it. Because each year I was telling my son, I was telling my son, my wife, because each year you fail one class, you had to go to summer school, one class, and I wasn't good at Spanish, so I had to go to summer school every year or get kicked out, go to another high school. So I went to summer school every year for Spanish. So you had to learn Spanish, and I did well, and boom, I did well for 4 years there. It was a great school.
So why do you think, I don't know if it's the thinking today, but back in your day, New York City was like the hotbed for point guards. It just was, like you said, Kenny Jet Smith, so many other people coming out of New York City, from the point guard position. Why do you think it was such a big position in New York specifically?
Because we like to control the ball, control the team. But when I was growing up, it was Kenny Smith, Rod Strickland, Mark Jackson, Pearl Washington. Those are the 4 guys I looked up to, to be the point guard, and have the ball and make the decisions on the court. And that's what it was basically. Now, I just think a lot of kids got different opportunities, and they're not doing everything, when it comes to schoolwork, basketball, such on, etc. A lot of these kids are just playing basketball, and they're not having the grades. So now they're going to prep schools out of the city, and it's hurting. It hurt the city game. A lot of talented guys like that are going to prep schools and things of that nature. So, we knew back in the days what we had to do. We wanted to play basketball, but we had to do well in school in order to play. So, that was the thing. But now it's a lot of kids just doing so many different things besides schoolwork.
So you feel like some of the art, of the point guard position has been lost a little bit, especially with this modern game where, all they do is focus on 3-point shots and the pick and roll, and they kind of eliminate the big man a little bit as well.
Yeah, you eliminate the big man. It's a stretch 4, stretch 5. Now they're shooting a lot of the threes. The pro game is shooting a lot of the threes, and that's what a lot of the players want to do. So, hey, the game changes over time, and you got to get with it. It changed. The pro game is awesome. I love the pro game. It made me, a lot of money, and it made me who I not who I was, but I would say a lot of money. I would never want to coach on a pro level. I want to coach on the college level to teach these young men how to survive, not only basketball wise, but in life in general.
Okay. Well, I remember you once said that basketball is easy, life is hard. Where did that quote come from, and why? What's the hardest part about life that you found?
Oh, life is, basketball is easy, life is hard. That's my documentary. It's out. You can watch it. I'm not going to really get into it. It's called Mr. Chibs. My documentary is really deep, really about my life. Basketball has been easy my whole entire life. It's been I played on every level, and was successful on every level. But life in general has been a grind. It's been a grind. It's made me who I am, and I have 4 wives. I have 8 children. I had 3 wives. So it's, I had to learn. And I'm learning. But I'm learning, I would say, at 50 years old, I'm learning. That's boy, but you learn every day, so, it's been rough. It had some rough times in my life, but it also had some great thrilling moments in my life. So I really can't, my life has been great, and God has blessed me. And I try to preach that to my kids, nowadays. Just, hey, keep pushing, keep pushing, but you gotta live the right way.
So, in your journey of, self-discovery, what was the biggest catalyst to, I guess, turning things around? You mentioned, you had the divorces, but you also, admitted to being molested as a kid.
Yeah.
Was that one of the biggest,
Yeah.
turning points for you to be able to admit that in the open space?
Yes, that was one of the biggest things that I was able to deal with it a lot better when I admitted it. That I was able to talk about it. And early in my career, when I made it, I just threw it under the rug, and then I just started, living life. But you sometimes, I always think that's why my life wasn't formed the way it was. It wasn't
Linear.
it wasn't straight through. I always had dips and valleys because of that's what I've learned, in my life. It wasn't good, but I had to live and learn. And that's what I'm doing now. And I let my kids know, and this is me. I'm able to deal with it now. And it's just a fact that you just got to learn to live with.
Do you believe that, your discovery there and, the lack of mental health in the Black community, do you feel like that's something that needs to be pushed? And especially now that you're molding young men, do you push mental health?
Yes. And that's what, my wife works mental health. And that's basically, that's in the neighborhoods that we all grow up in, the Black, that's really a big key to it. You got to let them know it's out there. It's it's a danger, but you gotta be aware. You gotta let them know, that you're someone you could talk to better yourself. And if they trust you, they will allow that growth, and they'll be able to talk to you and tell you certain things. But in time, that's what it gives you.
Well, they say, experience is the best teacher, and, you've had, so many different experiences, in your life. So I know you can pull from anything, to help, one of your young men along. Now, in this time when we're not just dealing with the pandemic, but, the civil unrest, have you thought about how you're going to have conversations with your players as far as, what they're dealing with from a societal standpoint when they're dealing with discrimination or racial profiling or interaction with police?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about now. I'm sitting down. I'm always thinking to myself how I'll go about it, and I want them to go about this the right way. Not so much fears like just in them, because you can have a lot of bitterness, and that's not the way. The bitterness. You got ways you can vote and get people, voted in. It's just bad, with Trump. I'll tell you, with Trump, with him being the president, it's just sad, how he carries himself. And we really, have to get him out of there. And you get that, you go through votes to get someone like that out. That's all. And that's what we got to teach our young Black men, and, get it right. But some of us, most of them are just living with hate, and hate is just get it out of you. Just get hate out of you, and just try to live the right way every day.
Do you like what the, you have the bubble in Orlando, and what Adam Silver has set up, where players can choose various, causes and things like that, like Black Lives Matter or equality on the back of their jersey? What do you think about that particular, plan that they have in place? And do you think it will make an impact as we kind of look at basketball resuming?
Yeah, I think so. Adam Silver does a great job, supporting it. supporting it. The lead is doing a great job, and but we must, all of us must come to, just come to our senses. That has been going on for 400 something years. You come on, man. Hey, come on. It's out there. Come on. You got to come to some type of agreement with yourselves, and just, and just try to fight it. But like I said earlier, you got to find the right tactics, the right ways to fight the battle. Can't always, just fight, just go crazy. You got to be more strategic, on how to fix it. And I think in time it will get better. I don't know how much better, but it'll get better.
Do you feel like, there's kind of a two-sided coin where athletes have this huge platform and they're speaking up, but then you have the other side that would rather them shut up and dribble, as they say. What do you think about these athletes having these huge platforms and speaking out?
Yeah, it's great. If you have a huge platform, you should explain and talk to what's going on in the world today. So, those that just shut up and dribble, they just don't know. They know, but they just, they ignorant. And most people that's saying, shut up and dribble, are racist, but they're racist. So you have to just, be equipped, on what's going on and fight it, Fight it the right way, though. Fight it the right way. If we could do that, we'll be amazing. But like I said, I just think it's good. We know what's going on. We're fighting the battle, but there's just time, man. I don't know. After 400 and something years of slavery and this, I don't know if you could get it all correct. It's just sad.
Now you mentioned, doing it the right way. Do you feel like some of the methods that we've been using lately is on the right path? Protesting, kneeling, during the anthem. Do you feel like, these are, effective methods, or do we need to try to change what we're doing?
I think they're all, they're great methods, but it's, you just got to be real careful. It's always the non-believers, that's going to fight us on this type of what we're trying to do. The non-believers, they're going to fight us, and you just got to be. It's just you got to be aware of what's going on, not around you, but also what's going on in the world today, and we just got to just maintain on what we're planning on doing, and what's going on around the world. It's a lot of racism around the world, but it's been going on for so many years now. It takes time to change, and if we can get the change going, what's going on now is great, but we just got to keep going. You can't just do it and then shut it off. You got to keep going.
So in that vein, one of the things that people talk about when using your platform, especially when you're, a recruit and you're coming out of high school and you're choosing a college, they were saying that, maybe it's time to start looking at HBCUs.
Yes.
And that affects you directly because you coach in an HBCU. What do you think about McCool Maker choosing Howard University? And he's a top five-star recruit, and he's choosing an HBCU. What do you think about that?
HBCU, that's great, man. And you know me, I'm Kenny Anderson, so come down to Fisk. All you, these recruits, these five, come down to Fisk University up in Nashville. It's great. Who better than me? You know what I'm saying? To really get these guys clicking the right way. You know what I'm saying? Howard. That's a great pickup. And hopefully, the other young black men will understand why he did it and look at other HBCUs. It'll be awesome. But I'm here at HBCU Fisk. We getting it together here at Fisk, and so all you young black men, come on.
Do you feel like because the other side of that coin is you have a lot of talented players who maybe want to do the one and done, and they want to be seen and get that platform. Do you feel like they'll still have that same platform when they play at HBCU?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Now the scholarship money and the sponsor money, the TV money, we got to get that here at the HBCUs. But you come once, if that's what you plan on doing, hey, so be it. We have to try to make it work, for them and for HBCUs. But I really believe if you some of the HBCUs and get some of these young black men to come to our schools, it'd be awesome.
So really, this could be a domino effect, and
Yep.
big players choose HBCUs. HBCUs can share in that TV revenue money,
Yep.
and also be able to get full scholarships and all these other
Yeah.
things. So it takes that first, few explorers, if you will, to land on the shore, and most people, will follow.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be awesome. So, it takes one to do it. One, and then hopefully, 2, 3, 4, but we don't know. But it's a great initiative on how, the kid from Howard, he decided to go to Howard. It's just awesome. And he had all the top. I think he had UCLA on the back burner, and he just said, hey, I want to go to Howard. So that's just a great cause. It's just great, man.
So, you went to a big time school in ACC in Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
What's the difference to you? What was it like for you being a student athlete, in a school like that?
It's just the money. It's the money. The money, the TV revenue, the money and the likes, of those type of schools. And if we could get the same with the HBCUs, why not? When you got a coach like a Kenny Anderson that played college ball, high school, pro, why not? If we could get the money to get these kids into school, it'd be awesome.
So will it take you, like the HBCUs playing up to the level of competition, like, playing your Dukes and your North Carolinas and schools like that to get the recognition?
Yeah, I believe so a little bit. But on that, I just think, I'm here at Fisk. I just think a little more scholarship money and TV revenues and things of that nature. We could play on TV. I just think going into that direction, we'll be fine. But the kids that's choosing to go to HBCUs at this time, with the kid that's going to Howard, it's awesome. I just think now maybe more and more follow his footsteps, and that's what it got to be.
So so that's the one part of it, and now you see the league, even though they won't do the straight from high school option, they also have a special kind of G League team for those upper echelon recruits who could go straight from high school, to the league. What do you think about that inaugural program that Adam Silver has in place?
I think it's great, but me and my son was talking about that. But how many kids are going to go? How many kids could do it? There's always going to be a select few that could do it. Now, why not go to college, get an education, play basketball, boom. But I understand they could play ball and still do well, still manifest, still get a good education outside of that, if they want to do it. But I just think it's going to be a select few that can really manage it, that's going to play well and go on to the NBA from that program.
So, like, on the flip side of that, also, you have people who are championing, college players getting paid, while they're in school. Do you think that's going to have any kind of real steam?
Yeah, I think so. It's been going on for ages, college players getting paid. You just don't know about it. So it's going to go on, I believe, to get the top players in the school. It's some of the mothers doesn't have the money it's going to happen. So you hope and pray. I think a lot of them hope and pray they don't get caught. You know what I'm saying? Because it's gonna happen. Believe me.
So you're not surprised that allegations are coming up with like Zion Williamson right now?
No, not at all. Come on, man. Not at all. I'm not surprised. I'm not at all.
Do you feel like it's Zion's fault at all? Like, because he was probably the most famous basketball player while he was at Duke, really out of anybody, even pro, and for him not to get paid for his likeness was kind of criminal.
Yeah.
So do you think he was in the wrong at all?
He's in the wrong. He's in the wrong because of the rules, the rules and regulations. But I think he's hey, he's in court. They're in court now fighting a battle, and I guess they're gonna find out and see who was in the wrong. But the kids, necessarily the parents, the mother, the father, they don't have money like that. So it's really a catch-22 situation. If you got a kid that can play basketball and he goes to school X for money, come on, man. How it's just sad. It's just sad. But they're saying education goes up to $100,000. He's getting, $100,000 for education. Some of the schools, and I get it, but it's just not right in certain situations, like a Zion. How much money did he, make for Duke, in 1 year?
Exactly.
That's crazy,
Exactly. I mean, President Obama even came to his game. I mean, he was box office.
Yes, definitely.
So I know you're keeping up with what's happening in the bubble and the teams that are playing and everything else. Barring energy or anyone else, God forbid, coming up with the coronavirus. What are your thoughts on who you think will be in the end there in the finals, and who do you think will come out on top? When it's all said and done.
The teams that I play for, I give love. Brooklyn Nets, hope they play well. Boston Celtics, and Portland Trail Blazers. Those are the three teams I care about, because they took care of me. They gave me some money while I played in the NBA. So I look at them. So the other teams is not bad, with LeBron and Anthony Davis. They're great. And the Kawhi, the Clippers, all of them are great. But those are the three teams: the Brooklyn Nets, the Boston Celtics, and the Portland Trail Blazers. I hope they do well.
So you don't think it's laughable when Charles Barkley said if the Portland Trail Blazers get into the playoffs, they could easily defeat the Lakers in that first round? You don't think that's far-fetched at all?
Oh no, not at all. Not at all. It's not funny. It's not funny at all. With the team, with Damian Lillard and the other two guard with them.
CJ McCollum.
McCollum and Carmelo. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. They just went to the finals last year against Golden State and they lost. So the Western Conference Finals. So anything is possible. But my favorite, and I shouldn't say favorite, but to win it all, I'm going with the Boston Celtics. My Net fans will get mad at me. That's where I started my career. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's a lot of, the Nets got a lot of guys coming and going on their team. The Celtics they look good. They look good this year.
So what about the Celtics? Is it their versatility? Is there deep bench? Do you like Tatum or like
everything?
What's the reason?
Everything. They got a deep. They're bigs. They're not big enough, but they're up and down. They're quick. They're talented. They're a very, very, very good coach. The coach is great. I just think they can win it if they really put their minds to it. They can win it.
And surprise, surprise, they have a New York City kid at point guard.
Yeah, Kimber Walker, baby. New York City all day, baby, all day. Kimber Walker, so that's great. You know, he's able to, but he's been playing in the NBA and college and high school. His whole career has been great. He's been awesome.
Yeah, I think that could be a real sleeper team. You know, the one thing is they have that, you know, the one player that may have to leave for the birth of his child, Gordon Hayward.
Yes.
So he's going to have to be reintegrated into the bubble, you know, after that. But you know, you're right. They have a very diverse squad. They got shooting. They got guys that can go out and get their own shot. You know, if Tatum, if he steps up and plays like he can, and he's healthy and stays healthy, they could be very dangerous. You know, and I agree with you about the Nets. You know, there's so many players chose not to go and can't play and so forth, and you know they have to just scramble and sign players. They signed Michael Beasley, and he came up with the virus, and he had to quit. You know, so they're still trying to scramble and field that team. So you know, it's hard to predict what they're going to be able to do in the bubble. But you know, I think out of the three, I'm going to have to go with Portland. You know, like you said, they went all the way to the end with the Golden State Warriors, and you know they got a dog in Damian Lillard. I think he doesn't.
He's straight up. He's flat out probably the best point guard in the league. He's up there. He's up there. He's really a primetime player. Damian Lillard
coming back. You know, so I think they're going to be fully healthy. They have all their players, and you know, if they can gel and put it together, they're going to be dangerous.
Yes, definitely.
They're going to be really dangerous. So you know, I just want to kind of close out a little bit on your NBA career.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, you were drafted by the Nets back in 91, second pick. Yeah. What was that like, especially being able to stay within that area, coming from New York City, and you're playing with the Nets?
No, it was awesome. It was awesome. I was coming home. I was right home. I co-visit my mother on my days off and things of that nature. Playing with the Nets was it was fire. That's something that I would always remember. Playing with Drazen Petrovic, Derek Coleman, the East. It was tough. Chicago, Michael Jordan, they won every year, but that was Cleveland was tough. Orlando, the Knicks. It was just tough basketball back then.
Do you feel like that's one of the biggest what ifs, not just in your career, but in the NBA, the tragic death of Drazen Petrovic? Because he was a lights out shooter. You guys
that's it. What if? Well, what if he would have stayed and signed, and we would all stay together, me, Derek, and Drazen. Our whole careers might have looked different, but you never know. Just sad. But he was a great player coming from Portland. He came from Portland. They wasn't playing a lot because they had Clyde Drexler and Terry Porter. And he showed he could play in this league. Showed it, and that was a blessing.
Do you feel like because Stephen Curry gets hailed as the best shooter of all time, but a lot of people forget about Petrovic and how deadly he was. Do you feel like he doesn't get enough recognition as he should?
Oh, he gets a lot of recognition, but Steph Curry can shoot the ball extremely well. Drazen was up there. You got Reggie Miller, who's a great shooter. Drazen Petrovic. I played with Dell Curry in Charlotte, who was an awesome shooter. So you got a lot of NBA great shooters. Dale Ellis was a great shooter, and these guys really, they really could shoot the ball.
When you look back on your career, what's maybe your biggest regret, and then what's your biggest accomplishment that you look back and say, I did that?
I don't have no regrets. I played 14 years in the NBA. That was just awesome. I really don't, but it just my biggest accomplishment making the All-Star team in '94 as a starter. It was awesome as a starter. And they jerked me for about 2-3 years of making the All-Star team. But I understood it. But I made it in '94 as a starter. You can't take that away from me. You can't at all.
What was that like for you to, hear your name when they announcing the All-Star team and you get to go out there and know that you're the best player, in the league at that point?
It was awesome. It was something that I thought that I could achieve, and I worked extremely hard for that honor, and it was great to know that I made it.
And finally, right now the NBA is a point guard driven league.
Yeah.
Who would you say is your first team, second team, and third team point guard?
Wow.
If you had to rank them?
I'm going with Kimba because he's a New Yorker. I'm going with my first team. He's a New Yorker, man. I always root for my New Yorkers. Kimba Walker, Damian Lillard, and Stephen Curry.
Steph Curry. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Well, I don't know if you could even classify James Harden as a point guard.
No, I'm not gonna classify him as a point guard. Because he got Westbrook that plays with him. He's the point guard. He's a great player. Get me wrong, but James Harden is like a 2-3.
2-3. Okay. Because I thought maybe give him a little leeway because he's another crafty lefty like you.
Yeah. He's great. He's a great player.
Okay. Well, hey, I really appreciate you taking the time out. It was a great journey through, your history and, the indelible mark you made on the game. And, I wish you well with coaching there at Fisk.
Thank you.
I hope that young players see the value in coming to learn from you, learn under you, and, learn to be not just great players, but great men as well.
Thank you, man.
What's your prediction of this year? How you think you guys are going to do this year?
I was excited about this year, before the coronavirus. I've been here 2 years. We had not so good years, but this year coming up was going to be my best year. And I'm not sure right now, with the coronavirus. But I love being here at Fisk and just trying to build the program. Just build it the right way. I think we're getting it. We're getting it.
Cool. Well, hey, thanks again, and you're welcome to come to Rebel Without Applause at any time. And take care of yourself, and we'll keep looking for you out there on the court.
All right, my man. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Kenny.
All right.